Could it have been worse? Sure. Absolutely, it could have been worse. But not by much. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm here to talk to you about The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent. So, The Stillwater Girls was on my most anticipated reads for the beginning of 2019 while I was waiting for it to be released, which is officially tomorrow, April 9th. I was given the opportunity to read the arc. So I did. I read the arc and then swiftly canceled my pre-order. The details of the story that put this book on my most anticipated reads list are that it revolves around the story of girls that were raised in these woods without electricity, without running water. Their mother takes the youngest of them to get medical attention one day and never returns. And so the two girls that are left fending for themselves are running out of supplies. The winter is setting in. Like, they are in pretty dire straits when a strange man shows up demanding to know the whereabouts of the girl's mother, and really leaves the girls no choice but to escape their homestead out into this world that they're convinced is evil and full of danger. So the Stillwater Girls deals with what I was talking about when I reviewed Inspection by Josh Malerman, which is that shattered perception, that perception of reality for a character that turns out to be completely false, and the repercussions of learning that. That's all you know from the book's description for the most part, at least at the time that I pre-ordered this novel. And I had every reason to think it would be an interesting and compelling story. What I didn't realize until I started reading the arc was that there is a completely separate second narrative from the perspective of the wife of an artistic photographer. The book alternates between the oldest girl, Wren, who is daughter to this missing woman and sister to another girl, Sage, and then the perspective of Nicolette, this really well-to-do wife living on the edge of this forest in upstate New York and questioning the stability of her marriage. So that's intriguing. These things seemingly have absolutely nothing to do with each other. And yet I was like, okay, well, let's go on this ride. Let's see where this leads. And to be perfectly honest with you, the first half of the book is pretty compelling. It kept me interested. I kept looking forward to the next time that I could pick up the book to read it. It felt like a fast-paced, domestic-like thriller that was going somewhere. And then around 50%, things sort of changed. Things started to feel, instead of fast-paced, they felt rushed. And situations in the book that should really take some time in real life, relationship building and things of that nature that take time, making huge life decisions that take time, were instantaneous for these characters. So I started to feel a little bit like maybe this is not going where I was hoping it would go. Then, around 70%, the book takes a total nosedive into crazy town, into what in the hell did I just read? The twist of this book is just completely unbelievable. You're surprised, sure, but you're surprised because that's impossible. It's impossible. There's absolutely, I mean, even if it were possible, even if I'm going to believe that it's possible, I'm going to need a lot more development than the author gave me to get to that place of believability. Instead, I'm just kind of like, hello? Like, this is stupid. Like, it's terrible when you think that something really worth your time and effort turns out to be hollow. I couldn't take this book seriously once the twist was revealed. And then it's like at 50% when it started going downhill and things started to get rushed, man, it just kept picking up velocity. And it was like out of control. Things happening that were not treated with care. They were not given the attention that they needed. They were just there and we were supposed to accept it, and now we're moving on to something else. It was also contrived. Everything ended up wrapped up perfectly in this neat little package with a pretty little bow on it. Really disappointing read. And I'm going to settle on 2 stars for this book because, like I said, the potential story that it contains is strong. Likewise, I think that the first half, definitely first third of the book are workable. I think that there's something there. My problem isn't that we had a full-length novel filled with things that we didn't need to know instead of a decent plot. What we have here is a 250-page novel that's not finished. This is not a finished book. Like, it has a beginning and it has an end. But as readers, and if we're watching booktube videos or videos on books, we're serious readers. Like, we do this stuff all the time. We know that you can have an ending of a book and not a book not be finished. Like, this book is hollow. And I get it, I get it because I write like this. There's 2 kinds of writers. There are writers who overwrite, and when they're finished with a book, they like slash things out of it with a machete because there's so much there that they have to edit themselves down. And then there's writers that don't do that, do the exact opposite. They write the bare bones of a story, and then part of their editing process is to fatten it up, to delve into details and to get this thing at a healthy weight. I fall into that second category. I can picture, or I can imagine, that there are also 2 different types of thriller writers. Those that come up with a well-developed plot, and once that plot has reached adulthood, they use writing techniques and artistry and execution, their personal methods of execution, to make parts of that plot that they've come up with worthy of a thriller novel. They take out details, or they choose to hide certain things from the reader so that this over here becomes a twist. And that's one way. And then the other way is to come up with this twist that you want to exist in the world and then try to build a story around the twist. I don't know which way would be harder. I don't know which way would be easier. I don't know which way is more common or less common, but I feel like this author falls into the second category. I did a little bit of research. Like, I was so blown away by the fact that this book got published that I did a little bit of research into the author's other work. Now, the author wrote a book called The Thinnest Air, and that was offered by Amazon as a Prime Kindle First, where Prime members get access to the Kindle version before the book is actually released. So it has a lot of reviews on it. And what I found in going through that stuff is that my problems with the Stillwater Girls are not isolated to this book. The things that I am complaining about, because let's face it, I'm complaining, are actually characteristic of the author's other work as well. And it's getting past a lot of people. Like, a lot of people are like, yes, this is awesome. And then a lot of people are like, wait a second. Well, I'm going to need a little bit more. I think what these books are, 250 pages with fast pacing, short chapters, alternating points of view. these are very much, or this book in particular, I guess I'm not going to speak on the other books that I haven't read, but this book in particular strikes me as, you know, a beach read, something, and not to say that you can't take a beach read seriously, that's not what I mean, but you know, there's something to be said for books with short chapters that move rather quickly, that you can put down at any given moment and then pick back up and not be lost. They don't require a lot of thought. They don't, you know, there's nothing to process because it's all stated very plainly right there for the reader. And like, I think that's maybe where this book needs to sit. I'm trying really hard not to be insulting. I don't want to be insulting, but this is not a good enough book for me. I read too many books to accept a book like this, to accept that this is possible, I mean, like, I want to kind of knock on her editor's door and say, you know, what are your qualifications? Because I read a lot of books and there's no way on earth that I would put this out there and expect somebody to pay hardcover price for it when it's literally just a shell. It's a shell of a story, and it's unsatisfying in that regard. And I just expect, and quite frankly demand, better than this. Here's a little tidbit of information that I actually just found while filming this video, because I do take pauses and look up random things, including the definitions to words that come out of my mouth, but I'm not sure I've used them in the correct capacity. But this author does also write contemporary romance under the name Winter Renshaw. It looks like her contemporary romance novels are rated more highly than her thrillers or her psychological dramas, or however you want to classify them. So it's all becoming very clear to me. I did look up the publisher of the Stillwater Girls, which is the mystery thriller imprint of Amazon Publishing. And I don't have bad things to say about books published by Thomas and Mercer, but this is not the first time that I've read one and thought, what kind of developmental editing crap is this? Like I said, I canceled that pre-order straight away. I don't feel like I'm being very nice, but I also don't feel forced to be nice in these types of situations. If you ever had any doubt that my ARC or pre-release reviews should be questioned, rest assured that they should not. I don't think in this case that it was an issue of me choosing poorly. I think that the book was misrepresented, and I think that the book was bad. There you have it. The Stillwater Girls by Minka Kent is available Tuesday, April 9th, which is tomorrow. If I've shattered your dreams about reading this book, I apologize. Please let me know how you feel about what I've said. Also, let me know if you've had a similar experience where you felt like you were reading a draft. I'm curious if I'm the only person that this has happened to. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon.